Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, with your own lens, which can be triggered and can be, comfortable and can be hectic. It can be, cozy, but at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. And guess what? This one's triggering because you should know we're talking about Fallen Idols, Nick and Aaron Carter, season 1, episode 3. Oh, Aaron, and it is, about substance abuse and sexual assault and all of it. So you're welcome.
Yeah, I think this title is weird. For this, it makes it just seem like, oh, Aaron.
I know, I
Um,
know it.
One,
I know
two,
it.
this is the most informative episode.
Yes.
Because it kind of goes from the beginning to the end of Aaron Carter and his journey, and it makes me wonder why they couldn't do the same thing for the first two and just put them together. So this is 4 episodes, and it doesn't need to be, seeing as how, yeah, it didn't need to be.
The last episode, do you think doesn't have to happen at all?
It doesn't need to happen based on how much information they give us in 3.
Mhm.
4, it just kind of tries to tie things up, but it introduces new characters, which I think could have just been introduced in episode 1. Like, if we're gonna talk about Nick's allegations, just put that all in one video.
Did we need this many super fans?
I mean,
There's
no,
at
we
least
didn't.
4. There's at least 4.
We didn't.
Okay.
But their part is so little that it feels like there could have been some other choices, because it doesn't feel like the story is about Nick and Aaron as we think it is. It's about Nick's troubles and Aaron's troubles, but Nick's sexual assault allegation, not his drug abuse troubles. And then it's about Aaron's drug abuse troubles, and I don't know if he had anything else going on, but it's not about his career. It's just weird. It's not, they don't tell the same story about both of the brothers.
Yes, it's not organized well. It feels disjointed. I know what you're talking about, because arguably most of the first 2 episodes is about Melissa. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's Melissa's point of view, which it should be, but it's called, Fallen Idols, which in itself, Fallen Idols makes me think this is going to be a documentary about American Idol people gone haywire. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but it's Nick and Aaron Carter, which makes sense. And again, I think that I also missed the boat a little bit, because not only was I too old for Aaron Carter, and I guess firmly it would have been a Nick Carter fan if I was, I also didn't watch House of Carter.
Yeah. But it was just such a little part of it that it also didn't need to necessarily be in there. And then, like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about their family dynamic? Are you talking about the drug abuse? Are you talking about the sexual assault? Are you talking about the victims? Like, what are you talking about? Like, have less themes. It's like, this could have been called like Backstreet Brothers. It could have been called like the rise and the fall of the Carters, or even the Carters.
Backstreet Bros to Men.
That's to Men. That's Boys to Men.
I know. I thought you were gonna be mad about that, but I thought it'd be like a play on that. I thought you'd like it.
I think it would be good if there wasn't a group called Boys to Men out in the world.
I know, but
Yeah.
That's why I did it.
Okay. Yeah. It just could have been named Fallen Idols. Is just like a crazy thing, because neither of these people were idols to me. I don't know anybody who was ever an Aaron Carter fan. In fact, like, when he passed away, I was just like, okay. Like, he just
Sawai would have been Sawai's age, but I'm sure Sawai wasn't into it. He's 7 years younger than Nick.
Yeah.
So, and feels like Nick is at least 2 years older
than us. Yeah.
So he's 5 years younger than us.
Yeah.
But that felt like, if he's only 5 years younger than me, it felt like he was 12 years younger.
Yeah, it surely did. He was way out of my like zeitgeist. I don't even know what he did. I don't know what, like, the I Want Candy song, they reminded me of that, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess. But like, what else? Like, what other songs were like the Nick Carter bop? It was just like this weird little white kid who wanted to like sing R&B.
The I Want Candy song, I didn't realize. I know that song. I know the real song. I didn't realize.
I know the real song, yeah, too.
Yeah, no, real song. I know. I want candy. Yeah, but
yeah. So it's just weird. So we start off this episode with the tour manager. I can't remember his name, but he talks about how Aaron had the X factor and that he really enjoyed his time working for Aaron. That Aaron's first album was released when he was 9, as opposed to Nick's was released when you know, he became part of the Backstreet Boys at 13 and got that real superstardom at 17. So he had somewhat of, I guess, a normal, or at least a trying to be a star childhood. Whereas because of Nick, Aaron's stardom happened very quickly because he was already a part of a popular person's family. And the mother got him with Lou, whatever the fuck his name is, Lou, very early on. And it's interesting
Roman.
because Jane also like was on the record saying that she felt like Lou Pearlman was weird with Nick, but she was ready to throw Aaron into his clutches. And so Nick and Aaron at this time spent a lot of time away from each other because they both had crazy careers. We get introduced to the fact that Aaron had a twin named Angel, and that Jane was the quintessential stage mom, but Nick was floating the family for a long time. And then at some point he like kind of moved away from that, and Aaron then became the person that was floating the family. And I just, how does that even work? How does it work that, like, if I were to have been a famous child actor, how would my parents funnel the money that I made into my siblings living the high life? Besides the fact that they were the managers, and so they obviously got a paycheck, I guess. I just don't understand how that works.
Well, I think that, you know, you as the star are allowed certain things. Your home is where you live, even though you're a minor now. Your siblings also live there too. You're allowed to pay for, you know, upgrading your life, you know, and like you're allowed certain trips, you know, like so if you but you are a unaccompanied minor, so your trips are going to not just be on you can pay for other people, you know what I'm saying? They can buy you trips because you are a working child and you need to, like, you know, be able to go on vacation, and they have to be able to take you because they're your parents and you can't just go by yourself. The money that you make, they can spend some of it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
I guess I just assumed it goes into a bank account that they can't touch.
there's some of it that does, but some of it can be used for for your living and betterment. You know what I'm
Oh.
saying? Like, for instance,
Oh.
I
I thought
think
the
that like
parent had to be like an employee of the child. Like in my mind, the parent sets up an LLC or something and then does that and pays themselves off of that. And so I'm just like, oh, it's weird.
well, when they get see if they say they're a manager, they get 10 or 20%, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's happening off, and we know that from the 7M TikTok cult. I mean, listen, Nick Carter's family could have been like, and tithing, honey, and Jesus tax or whatever the fuck it is. Here we are. So, yeah, Nick. Nick is obviously a superstar, and Aaron is like, you know, a young kid who has just a lot of charm, a lot of charisma,
The worst
and
acne, just the worst like this just
really bad.
acne. Oh, both of them just riddled with acne. Just like
Yeah.
not a concealer stick to be had between them.
Yes, yes, that is absolutely true. And you know, the annoying thing about acne is that it's not, it can be just incurable, and it can be not just because you aren't taking care of yourself, it's just like a hormonal thing. So for kids and like teens and or anyone who has like hormonal acne, and definitely like he it looked like he did, it's just it was plaguing. And you can see sometimes he was wearing makeup, but his parents are pushing him, of course, to be like successful because they need more money. And they are pitting each brother against each other. Like, Aaron, you're not going to be able to make it if you don't work hard. Or you know who fucking worked harder? You know who never complained? Nick, your famous superstar brother. And don't you want to do this? And like, it was really hard for him because I think that what they also want to say is he was someone who was very sensitive and just wanted to be loved. And he also loved his brother, and he was close to his mom, whereas Nick was not close to his mom. Now, he also, they even talk about him fucking getting fucked up with his dad. So, like, Aaron is someone who probably goes around and gets love wherever they can as the baby from the family, you know,
Mhm.
from so many people. I'm sure all his sisters like was obsessed with him, but he also has his own demons, and he also like wanted to be his own person, and they were again like I don't know, they were versing him against his brother, but he also loved his brother, you know, and his brother represented at some points someone who probably was the only rational person to give him advice because he was in fact a superstar, because he was in fact doing the shit like that his dumb mom or like, sniffing dad like only dreamt they could do, which is entertain in front of millions. Both those, only Aaron and Nick truly knew what that shit was like. And Nick to it, and to a degree that I'm sure Aaron just like was like, you're the end all be all, but then at the same time could be like envious and jealous of. It's very Cain and Abel.
Yeah, it's really interesting too because especially like the younger sibling always wants the older sibling to like protect them, to give them advice, to do all those things. And I'll tell you why I
Yes.
know this. It's because my sister is 8 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And like when we've gone through our like our conversations about how she had anger and resentment towards me, she was
Mm-hmm.
like, "You're my sister. You were supposed to do X, Y, and Z." And I was like, "Oh no. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was a child too." Like, I was a kid as well. I know you thought of me as being older and I guess supposed to be wiser or whatever, but I was not. It was not wiser. So for you to have harbored this feeling that like older siblings are supposed to do this, like they cannot if they are under the same amount of trauma. Like it's a really great kid who's able to be like, "Oh, let me protect my sibling." I mean, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think I could if like we were being like if the circumstances were more dramatic, right? But everyone was healthy, hale, and hearty. It's not like, somebody was being buried, in the backyard or like locked in
Buried.
a closet, like all those
Mm-hmm.
things. Yeah. It's not like all of that. I heard it. But like, so I think is he probably expected Nick when Nick was around to like rescue him and like be there and like hang out with him. But I think Nick, by the time he hated that mother. So by the time you get to a point where you're like, okay, well, you're with mom all the time and I hate her. So like you guys go ahead and have your relationship. Maybe she's nicer to you. And that is exactly what I experienced. Like you go ahead and hang out with mom then since you love her. Like I don't. So go on ahead and hang out with her then. Like because I can't help you when you're underneath that underneath that umbrella. And so I can imagine that a lot of the like stress and pressure was put on Nick to provide Aaron a certain experience that he just couldn't because he didn't have it in him to provide. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just really think that there was a lot like he went on to be in a Seussical, the musical, which is I guess a Dr. Seuss musical, which I've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
The family went on vacation. They said they were going to wait for him and they didn't. And he tried to like he threatened to kill himself on the road while he's with his manager and such. And so like Aaron was going through a lot. So during this time, Nick has alcohol issues. He's getting in trouble with the law, low key, but they're keeping it all under wraps. And then at some point, Aaron came to live with Nick and Kaya. And Kaya is one of the Pussycat dolls. And
Mm-hmm.
so then we start to realize that that was the better thing for him because Bob was just like doing Xanax, the dad. Bob at the compound was doing Xanax. And okay, listen, I know Xanax is like a narcotic and like, doctors are real stingy when they want to give it out. But the way that folks are like get addicted to it, I don't know. I listen, if could I take Xanax every day just to be chill? Yes. But the way that they said Nick became like a raging lunatic on Xanax, I was like, that A is not the drug for you. B, how? It is such a downer for me. Like I take Xanax and I'm like sleepy time, sleepy time. Like I can't even talk to people.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about pills. Like, there's like opiates and this is opiates. I'm
You've
not
never
quite sure.
you've never
You know,
taken Xanax, Chris?
I've taken Ativan. Maybe I have taken Xanax. Yeah, I've taken it. But here's the thing. Of course I've taken it, but not in a way to get high, I've taken it because I'm someone who has been prescribed it for anxiety. And so like I'm not someone who like can feel that. I've never okay, right now my dad had
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. When I take it and I've been prescribed it, I
Mhm.
feel it. It feels to me like all
Like,
of a
how much have you
sudden.
taken it? How much have you taken? I have 0.5. Like, have you taken 3 milligrams? Like, 4? I don't know.
No, no, I haven't taken that much. It's low. It's a low dose. But when I take it, I can feel it because all of a sudden everything is like it goes from me being like, okay, okay, I'm doing this, thoughts,
Yeah.
thoughts, 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 and then all of a sudden it's like one thing at a time.
Yes.
Also, I could go to sleep.
Yes. But, like,
So that's
that's
what I'm
not
talking about.
high.
Yeah, that's high. That's high.
I think I just feel, hmm. Like, I love Ativan. Like, I like Ativan,
I've never
like, and
taken that.
I have a point 0.5, and I'll tell you, like, there's nothing better than when you have to. So, okay, my biggest trigger is when I have to get ready for something, and I have to look hot for it or look pretty for it, and or go to like, sometimes in a social event, like, so I have to, like, now block 2 hours of my time, or I have to transform into beauty itself, into elegance, personified, and I have a lot of pressure on me to look perfect, and then I'll take it so I don't just shake as I'm doing my eyeliner and stuff like that. So I'll take it on
Mm,
Tuesday. I'll be taking it on Tuesday.
I
Um,
suggest it.
yeah, no, yeah, or the other time I take it is, like, if for any reason I'm gonna try and sleep on a plane.
Hmm. Hmm. I not for any reason, for every reason.
Well, you can't sleep on a plane. I'm not gonna sleep on a plane for 3 hours, because then
Oh,
I'll be like fucking,
I
in
am.
Bridesmaids. I'll be, like, absolutely fucked up, like, I won't fall asleep. I'll be having to get off the plane. I'll be like, "Hi,
I will.
where's the baggage claim?"
Yeah,
It's
that's
great.
always the best, but that's still that's
I
still high. And that's what I'm saying. I don't like to me, I
Then
don't
I
know
would
what
just
it
be on
is
a
to do
gummy.
uppers. I don't know what it is to do uppers, right? So everything I take brings me down
Yes, me
because
too.
I am like stressed and like
Already up there.
anxious and like I'm already having a lot of thoughts at all times, right? Um so that's what I'm saying. Like the way it affected him is just so different because I guess it wasn't prescribed to him. And then like even I can't imagine, even if I took 2 Xanax, I imagine I'd be asleep for 17 hours. So
But
that's
he
what I'm
got he can
saying.
get talents, he can get a tolerance to it. He looks like someone who's probably, to me, Aaron Carter reads as someone who was probably prescribed Ritalin or, ADHD medications as a kid, and then, also they hint at it as being undiagnosed mental health issues as well, that were, of course, self-medicated through intense amounts of drug use. And of course, Xanax was one thing. But yeah, they fucking talk about huffing paint with his dad. And that
That's wild to
shit's
me.
crazy.
And it
Like,
only lasts 1 to 2 minutes. Not enough. That's not good enough for me.
I'm not someone. Yeah, whippets are weird to me, or those kind of, like, nos. Like, there was, like, a thing where people would just, like, suck air out of balloons or whatever
Hmm.
at parties.
Hmm. Hmm. I just can't imagine it doing anything but making my voice weird. I mean, and also like again, if it only lasts 1 to 2 minutes, I don't want that.
Then you do it
Uh,
again. Then you're just, like, passing it and just, like, over and over again. It just makes you a little fucking addict.
that's crazy. So
Yeah.
Jane apparently embezzled money from Aaron, as I guess well as Nick, and so he filed for emancipation, didn't go through with it, and then we've got information that Leslie and Aaron were the two most respectful children of the bunch, and that this is coming from Ashley, one of Nick's victims. And she was always just saying that, there was just this disconnect within the siblings. Leslie was also talented, but nobody really paid attention to her. She was ignored. Then I find out the most shocking thing I didn't know was that Leslie died of an overdose in 2012.
Mm.
And I was like, because I know Nick died, and I was like, oh my God, out of five
Aaron.
kids, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I know Aaron died. Out of five kids, two of them died.
Mhm.
That's already a pathology. There is something going on. Like
Yeah.
two people in the same family who grew up together do not die of the same thing. Like it's without there being an actual issue. So
Mhm.
Jane blamed Nick for Leslie's death, saying that he was such a miser and stingy and didn't come around and didn't do anything, so that's why she died. He uh doesn't come to Leslie's funeral, and so then Jane starts in with the drama between Nick and Aaron. She really starts to create this division between Nick and Aaron because of that. Nick gets sober and had a family, and he continues on with his career. That is very interesting too. Like a choice, like he's like, I got to do this for me. He gets sober. His woman, let Lauren Kit, somebody gets pregnant, and he just like lives his life.
Yeah, they had footage of him going on Dr. Philibal shows to talk about why he didn't go to his sister's funeral, which is basically, he said that all of his family members were making it about themselves, and that he also shared in some guilt for his sister's death in some way.
Yeah. Which is
And
manipulative. It feels like it's manipulative from his mother. Like or if he's feeling guilt because I guess if he had been around more, he would have been able to do something. But like as people who've had therapy, we know that he most likely wouldn't have been able to do anything. Like if you need to get better, if you need help, that has to come from within.
also, if anyone is to be blamed for for that child's death, is her mother and her
Oh,
father.
Jane and
Yeah,
Bob are 100%
100%.
culpable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the smoke of the, is still going off in the chamber of the gun. I mean, you killed that girl. And,
Yeah.
you know, she's not alone. You killed another too. And
Yeah.
if any of that, I mean, that the horrible parenting, the just greed, the abandonment of love and, reliance on these children, innocent, beautiful children for your livelihood. It's like so manipulative, it's so fucked up, it's really disgusting. And it's one thing I will also say, obviously this documentary has only the toothless cousin, this one friend of the family, and
Mhm.
that's really it for family spokespeople. That's
Yep.
it. Obviously there's still the other blonde girl and still Angel. So BJ and Angel still exist, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And obviously Nick exists. Nick does not obviously talk to this docuseries. His lawyers, of course, keep saying certain things like go online to get more information. And obviously the parents don't talk either. I would love to get some information from the parents or I'm surprised when Nick went on Dr. Phil that there maybe wasn't in like a Lindsay Lohan, Dina Lohan type of way. There is no footage of the mother or father ever trying to at least take money or get information or like have an appearance talking about any of their family drama. Specifically, let me also say, I told you I never watched House of Carter. I don't know if they were on House of Carter.
Mm.
Like mother, because Zena and Michael Lohan like went crazy over Lindsay Lohan drama. Like all of them tried to get so much money. They would all go on like reality shows and everything just to be like, I'm Lindsay Lohan's dad and she had a fucked up childhood and we got divorced. Let's talk about it. And like the Carter family feels like the exact same thing. And again, take a drink. So does the Spears family. It's like these just trashy child actor, child entertainer, white families that are like really poor and then get a like comeuppance lotto check in one of their golden children. And,
Don't know how to act.
In all three cases, Lohan, Spears, and Carter, one isn't enough. They're like, oh no, we got other ones. No, have you seen the other ones we got? Like the Spears was like, have you seen Jamie Lynn? And fucking Carter was like, have you seen Aaron? And then fucking Lohan, they've tried to make they try to make Allie Lohan a model.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Well,
Um,
another did Paris, France.
okay, great. So then we have that Aaron had a weird career because he was such a childlike star that he didn't like cross over into an adult very successfully, and so that was an issue for him too. And then he
Mhm.
tried to get sober, but he was very sensitive and, like Chris said, had some mental issues. And then enter Lena Valentina. She
Oh.
dated Aaron, and she said that she's the one who said that he was like a demon on Xanax, and then he and Nick began to build a relationship, and I think that had to do with like the Carters. So Aaron went on tour though because he was feeling better and everything, and then he relapsed hardcore on tour. I wonder what was he doing on tour? What songs was he singing? Uh,
Yeah, I mean,
what?
well, I Want Candy.
I was like, was he singing I Want Candy? Like, what was he doing on tour? I just don't know anything about him to like know like what the bops were besides, maybe I could look it up, but I
Mm.
won't. So he started going live and on Instagram all the time. And then he had guns out and he started talking shit about the family. And then he made mention to Lena and his twin sister that he had a vision of killing Nick's wife and children. And then that's what really fucked him up.
Yeah.
So Angel and Lena then went to the police, but nothing happened. Nick didn't choose to like use that as like anything. But the one thing that they did know is if you do a restraining order, we will take those guns away from him. So Aaron then went super in to largely support Melissa Schumann, went live with her, told her about Ashley, and then he actually had Ashley on. Now, this is where I'm like, this is where to me, if I was a lawyer, I would say to myself, okay, actually never came forward besides when she told the police 10, 15 years ago at this point, right? If Nick is like, I mean, if Aaron is like, listen, Melissa, you are not the only one. I know of another. So Aaron kind of creates a road in which for Ashley to come onto the scene and tell her story because he knows that this is a pattern of behavior. And so he introduces these two and is like, my brother did these things. I witnessed it. And then it's like, he's like, I'm here to support all these people. Nick has got to, take charge of what he did. I do think that to some extent, Aaron wasn't doing it necessarily out of a place of love for his brother and or these girls. I think that he was trying to embarrass Nick. I think that he was trying to like jump on the bandwagon because otherwise, again, you would say no comment. I don't, I can't be involved in this. Like, I know this, what he did was wrong. If you need to subpoena me, subpoena me, but I'm not just gonna like come out and be like, yeah, my brother's a monster or whatnot. So I thought that was very interesting too, because while he's like, I'm on the side of justice, I'm on the side of whatnot, he didn't have the resources, I think, at this point to truly like help besides go on live and talk about it. Now, this is where the stands came at him, including one weird ass stand named Ganval.
Mm-hmm.
Ganval was going on live constantly bullying Aaron, talking shit, I mean, going in on him, telling him to kill himself. And you're like, Ganval, are you a Nick fan? Are you a Backstreet Boy fan? Like, exactly what role do you play in this?
Yeah, he's showing his whole ass face, which I just, for some reason, because at one point they're showing just like tweets, you're like, okay, well, this asshole is just going to tweet every fucking thing about him. Well, I mean, whatever. God bless you. See that shit all the time. But this person is also just showing face like, hey, just giving you another Aaron Carter update. And this guy is like, old, like he's not older. He's like roughly Aaron Carter's age. I mean, it reeks of someone who like has obviously an unhealthy obsession for his own reason. But what's also happening is they want to see if like, well, specifically Aaron thinks that there could be a relationship between him and Nick. And so basically what happens is this guy ends up having somehow Nick's wife on, and Nick's wife talking about how toxic Aaron is. And then Nick's wife ends up giving him like $100 in one of his live streams that he like screenshots and is like, whatever. And then Aaron uses it as a way to be like, see, it is, but it is Nick. And then also this kind of harkens back to Molly Golightly, who Melissa was like, I don't know, like who she is or why she has like insider scoop. And then later it's revealed that for some reason she also had sold a story saying that she had fucked Nick and like for some reason had like a relationship with them and who knows what. So it's all very murky, the netherworld, dark web. So yeah, Aaron, of course, is just like constantly saying that he wants to support women. Again, they make the reference that Nick hates the mom. Aaron likes his mom. There's a lot of things this docuseries tries to put out. It's almost too much. It's like they have too wide range of scope, it really is about the meat of the story is how fucked up this family is. So it's almost like Nick and Aaron Carter's family drama or something like that. And everything that has come up, because even if you were to talk about the sexual assault allegations, which we do, they try and give this backstory to perhaps why, which is they basically hint that Nick and Aaron were sexually abused and came from families that didn't love them, and they were, used to make money, and that was it. And both had major substance abuse issues. So not that there forgives them, but like that was like what they kind of said for all three of them.
Yeah. So then Aaron hires an investigator to kind of look through and see who's doing the things, because people are leaving like dead animals on his doorstep. This Ganval guy is like saying that people are going to get his address and all that shit. So he gets increasingly paranoid. Lena at this point, like, she can't really handle it. Nick actually does the restraining order, but he then gets a fiance in the midst of all this drama. Now the fiance admittedly is like, I don't really know what was happening with the family, to be honest. I was only worried about what was happening in the house, and what was happening in the house is that Aaron was on live 24 hours a day, and he really just cared a lot about what people were saying about him online.
They
And
met
I
on
really
Instagram, they said. Anyway, good for them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give that little bit.
Yeah. So So then so then we get more of the fact that the people around him aren't necessarily equipped and or good at all with being able to support him, but they think they can. And then uh it just really really gets very very messy at this point. And also the fact is that Nick is still touring at this point. Like, he's on the second wave of the Backstreet Boys, because they were gone for like a second. And then they came back, and I saw them in Vegas. And I didn't laugh at anything that happened when I saw them in Vegas, unlike J-Lo. Laughed out loud. Same venue, no laughter.
Yep.
But the show was great.
2018, right? Like, this is
show was great.
This is,
Yeah.
Backstreet's back. Literally. All
Yeah,
right.
it was great. And the consummate professionals, they're still doing everything that they can, like, and Nick and Aaron, no career to be had, just like tattooing his face, in and out of the black scent, just
Gaunt.
so
Very
yeah,
gaunt looking,
just drugs and all manner of shenanigans. And so it just feels like obviously one is going through it, and it feels like the one who's going through it is just spouting all these lies. Because it just felt like he was spouting all these lies, and it's just such an unfortunate thing. But who knew he had people antagonizing him to the nth degree online?
He would just like go, he would just go live and after live, and they describe what this part said. They describe all the Carter family as being lonely, like that's why Angel kept calling Ashley to hang out. And basically they have all these siblings, but no one's ever seen or heard or loved or validated at all. And so at this point, Aaron, in his like self-medicated, drug induced psychosis, keeps going live and gets trolled over and over again and just has to read it and deal with it. But instead of like not going live, there's no other world for him. He doesn't have any like close relationships. You would say he can't, but the truth is he can't, only because of his past and how limited his interpersonal skills are with new people. Like, he's not famous enough to not be able to like make friends. It's more so just at this point how deep the addiction is, because at this point we're not talking, I mean, we've already talked about like huffing paint, but it looks like meth or something. And I only say that because of like how gaunt he is. I mean, this man, he's doing whatever it takes for him to do it, and it's dark shit. You can tell that whatever's gripping Aaron is not good. And so for Melissa's like, well, I took his phone call and I talked to him, but I didn't really know what was happening at the time in his life either. So it's kind of like this trepidation of this person is giving Ashley and Melissa validation and an ear, but also is just like in the grips of it, like.
Yeah. He ends up reneging. He ends up getting with Molly Golightly and reneging everything that he said with Ashley and with Melissa, by saying that it wasn't true, and that his brother never raped any of them, and that he wanted it to stop. So he backed out of it. And Melissa said that she just didn't blame him for it, because she could tell that his emotional state wasn't too great, and that, he was getting bullied so much. And it felt like the only recourse to kind of turn back that choice, because he didn't expect the bullying to get to the level that it got to. And so that's like also really sad too, is that he tried to do something right and he couldn't. And so he's just like, I quit, so yeah.
I don't know what he could have done, because the other thing is, there was no discernible life skills that he had acquired enough to make money, and like being a celebrity or having people follow you for the drama. And again, they had a reality show, so unfortunately the grips of fame had gotten them to the point where they were never above the Kardashian level of selling themselves for like fame, but they just never had grip of businesses to, I guess, bring them the amount of success that it did for the Kardashians. Even now, I think the Kardashians are obviously on their downward spiral. I think that we're seeing them just, leave the influence of influencers, which makes me really happy. But here we are. Okay. Well, we're done.
Yeah. So if you guys want to see the visuals of what you're listening to, please join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties for $10 a month. You get a live every first Monday of the month plus other goodies. So if you're interested in that, please join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties. But if you can't do that, Chris will tell you how you can support us. Chris?
Well, you can go ahead and follow at DocuSweeties on Instagram, at DocuSweeties on TikTok, at DocuSweeties X, and also we have a Facebook group, the DocuSweeties Podcast Facebook group. We are on YouTube. If you haven't yet given us 5 stars and a helpful review, we sure could use one. Thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless you.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.